This month, we celebrate Hispanic heritage. Nuestros sabores, our culture, our people, all the ways the Hispanic community has contributed to this beautiful country. Come along with us as we share our history, starting with the first immigrant to make it to NYC.
Before New York was New York, Juan Rodriguez was here. Scholars believe he's the city's first immigrant, arriving in 1613 from what we now call the Dominican Republic and going into business as a trader. He's honored today with a stretch of Broadway in Inwood and by educators keeping his memory alive. Juan Rodriguez is our collective history. Arturo Alfonso Schomburg is a towering figure in New York City history and in the rich diversity of the Latino world. The Afro-Puerto Rican historian and writer moved here in 1891 and emerged in the Harlem Renaissance as he collected more than 10,000 items related to Black history and advocating for Cuban and Puerto Rican independence. His legacy lives on today at the New York Public Library, where the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture is a world-renowned institution. Arturo Alfonso Schomburg is part of our collective history.
On 155th Street in Upper Manhattan, the Hispanic Society Museum and Library is a must-see cultural destination. Founded in 1904 to celebrate and preserve the culture of Spain, it's since expanded to include all of Latin America. While primarily an art museum, it also houses 200,000 books, including thousands printed before 1701, and it has a range of educational programs for adults and children. The Hispanic Society Museum and Library is preserving our collective history. In the fight for education equality, Sylvia Mendez is an icon. In 1946, when she was 8 years old, Sylvia and her siblings were turned away from an elementary school in California attended by white children because they were of Mexican descent. Her parents sued and won. The case led to the end of segregation in California and paved the way for equality in schools. At 85 years old, Sylvia Mendez is a civil rights activist.
Ellen Ochoa is out of this world. The granddaughter of Mexican immigrants flew through Stanford University into NASA's astronaut program and became the first Hispanic woman in space in 1993. She went on to become the first Hispanic director of the Johnson Space Center. Ellen Ochoa is part of our collective history. A daughter of the Bronx, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor is a trailblazer, a graduate of Princeton and Yale. She was an assistant district attorney in Manhattan and worked in private practice before being nominated to the U.S. District Court, the U.S. Court of Appeals, and finally, in 2009, she became the first Hispanic member of the highest court in the land. Sonia Sotomayor is part of our collective history. Baseball legend and world-class humanitarian Roberto Clemente is a role model to this day. Born in Puerto Rico, he became a pro with the Brooklyn Dodgers minor league team before finding superstardom with the Pittsburgh Pirates and becoming the first Latin American player to get 3,000 hits. Equally devoted to helping others, he died in a plane crash in 1972 on the way to help earthquake survivors in Nicaragua. The next year, he became the first Hispanic member of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Sylvia Rivera put the T in LGBTQ plus rights. Born in New York to a Puerto Rican father and Venezuelan mother, she lived an incredibly tough life on the streets and emerged as one of the country's first transgender activists. She fought for trans people of color with her friend and fellow activist Martha P. Johnson, and the two were front and center at the Stonewall Uprising. Today, the nearby intersection of Christopher and Hudson Streets is named Sylvia Rivera Way. Sylvia Rivera is part of our collective history.
In Latin American countries and neighborhoods here, January 6th is a day of parades and parties. The Feast of the Epiphany, also known as Three Kings Day, celebrates the three wise men visiting baby Jesus. El Museo del Barrio started the celebration in Spanish Harlem 44 years ago. The night before, kids leave grass and water under their beds for the king's camels, and they wake up to presents and celebrations, including a parade. The purpose? To educate, preserve, and showcase Caribbean and Latin American cultures. Three Kings Day is part of our collective history.
For nearly 30 years, the Dominican Studies Institute of the City University of New York has been a destination for students and scholars. Established to address the lack of academic information about Dominicans, the Institute houses approximately 6,000 books and thousands of other documents in its archives. Its scholars also conduct critical research and historical studies about the Dominican experience. The Dominican Studies Institute of the City University of New York is part of our collective history. In Washington Heights, Normandia Maldonado is a legend. Born in Santiago, this community activist, dancer, and teacher lifted up Dominicans in New York City, promoting a rich culture and fighting to improve lives. Among her many contributions, she helped launch the Dominican Day Parade, founded multiple performing groups, and created the Cassandra Damiron Hall of Fame, which showcases Dominicans in the arts and public life. Normandia Maldonado is our collective history. For New York's bravest and finest, celebrating diversity in the ranks is a priority. The NYPD Hispanic Society formed in 1957 when there were only 40 or so Latino officers. Today, there are more than 10,000. The FDNY Hispanic Society started in 1962 to improve the lives of its members, which now make up 12% of firefighters. In both departments, over the years, Latinos have also risen to the highest ranks. The Hispanic Societies of the FDNY and NYPD are part of our collective history.
For 50 years, Ballet Hispanico has been a cultural leader, celebrating Latino cultures through dance productions, training, and community engagement. Founded in 1970 by Tina Ramirez, it began as a haven for Black and Brown Latino youth and others searching for a safe artistic space. Based in New York, it's now the largest Latin cultural organization in the U.S. Ballet Hispanico is a national treasure.
We love our baile and we do it well. And speaking of doing it well, this next person is truly an icon. Singer, dancer, actress, truly a triple threat. I'll give you a hint on who it is. West Side Story.
This could be the start of something.
Dancer, singer, and actress, the incomparable Chita Rivera has been lighting up the stage since the 1950s. Best known for her dazzling performances in West Side Story, Chicago, and Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Once you've been kissed.
She's a 3-time Tony winner and the first Latina honored by the Kennedy Center. At 89 years young, Rivera is still performing and has a memoir dancing into stores next year. Chita Rivera is part of our collective history. To love Latin music is to love the queen of salsa, Celia Cruz. She escaped Cuba in 1961 and moved to the New York area where she became a superstar, singing with legends like Tito Puente. In a career that included 75 records and countless awards, she did it all. Salsa, rumba, reggaeton, always in the most fabulous costumes and with that famous catchphrase, azúcar. Celia Cruz is part of our collective history.
Incredible creativity and masterful talent. That's how Michelle Obama described Isabel Toledo after wearing the designer's lemongrass masterpiece to the 2009 presidential inauguration. Born in Cuba and raised in New Jersey, she studied at FIT and Parsons before striking out on her own with her husband Ruben in 1984. Her designs were wildly popular, earning her countless awards. In a life and career cut short by cancer in 2019, Donna Karan remembered her as a true spirit designer who created from her heart and beliefs. Isabel Toledo is part of our collective history.
All hail the king of Latin jazz. With his gift for blending styles and putting a new spin on traditional tunes, Tito Puente transformed Latin music. Born in New York to Puerto Rican parents, he became a professional musician at age 13, taking a break to serve with the U.S. Navy in World War II. By the 1950s, he was in full swing with his band, the Tito Puente Orchestra, and his creativity still inspires the music of today. You may not recognize the name, but chances are you know Pete Rodriguez's most successful song. This Bronx-born musician was the lead pianist in Pete Rodriguez y su Conjunto. I Like It Like That came out in 1967 and is one of the most influential songs of the Latin Boogaloo era. It's been used in movies and video games and is enjoying a spot back on the charts thanks to a sample by Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin. And we like it like that. Pete Rodriguez is part of our collective history. There is soaring beauty, passion, and pain in the incredible work of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. A fearless feminist and ardent supporter of indigenous culture, she painted from a deep well of personal turmoil. Frida survived polio as a child and a near-fatal bus accident as a teenager, and had a tumultuous relationship with her artist husband, Diego Rivera. Through it all, she created iconic, vibrant art, including powerful self-portraits that capture the female experience. Frida Kahlo is part of our collective history. Cesar Chavez dedicated his life to fighting for the rights of migrant field workers, working tirelessly to improve treatment, pay, and working conditions. Born in Arizona to Mexican parents, Chavez knew the struggles firsthand from working farms with his family. Chavez's lasting legacy is his role in the creation of the United Farm Workers Union. He's known for popularizing the rallying cry, "Si se puede," or "Yes, we can." Fearless, devoted, and tireless, Dolores Huerta is a civil rights icon, one of the most influential labor activists of the 20th century. A co-founder with Cesar Chavez of what became the United Farm Workers, she's endlessly fought economic injustice and battled for better working conditions. It was Huerta who came up with the labor battle cry, "Si se puede," which President Obama later borrowed in English, "Yes, we can." At age 91, she's still a force, shaping our collective history. Everyone watching this right now can thank Guillermo González Camarena. He's the genius Mexican engineer who played a key role in the invention of color TV. In 1940, he patented a system that could transform black and white TVs into color, a huge advancement at the time. Guillermo González Camarena is part of our collective history, and together we are for New York.
There you have it, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Hispanic culture is so rich and diverse, the impact this had on this country is truly immeasurable. And as always, you can follow along with us on what has been and history in the making on NBCNewYork.com y por supuesto, Telemundo 47 para Español. I'm Asha Chaparro, happy Hispanic Heritage Month.